Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today. And though you've come through many obstacles.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to Season 2, Episode 1 of Miraculous, The Tales of Ladybug and Cat Noir. It's been quite a while. It has been a while since I've gotten to Miraculous. For those who don't know, this is a donation reward for Smurf Vlogs. We did Season 1, and now we're on to Season 2. And I'm interested to see where this goes. Because Season 1 was a little shaky. It just got to be too repetitive. But eventually it started to actually get to good shit. Like actual story and lore and, you know, actual important ongoing stuff. But I don't think that the entire enemy of the week thing is going to be done by any means. We're probably still going to get plenty of that, and it's annoying. Because the thing is, with any kind of enemy / monster of the week kind of plot basis for a series, you're going to have some that are good and some that are bad. And the thing I noticed with Season 1 of Miraculous was that it was very mixed. There were some good ones, but there were also just as many bad ones. And until it really got kicked off with like the really good stuff, the really good lore-based stuff and all, it wasn't that amazing. In fact, if I remember right, I had actually started the series on my own just as a reaction series, and I dropped it, and it was brought back by Smurf, if I believe right. I think this was another case of Smurf having me react to something that I initially dropped. But it's like, think about it. It's like there's just so much negative space in this series. And then there's some aspects of it that really get annoying too, like with the entire thing with Marinette and Adrian, just never finding out about each other and all. It gets annoying after a while. But like I said, Season 1 did eventually get to the important shit. It did start giving us some lore, giving us some just information that was really big and important regarding everything. And I'm hoping that we get more of that regularly throughout this season. Because if there's just long breaks of episodes that are just enemy of the week episodes that do nothing to progress the overall plot, that's gonna be very upsetting, admittedly. And so I don't know how this is going to go. It's one of those shows that coming back for a second season, it's like I don't know I don't know how well these reactions are going to go for this season, and how much I'll get through. Let's just say it, rip off that band-aid. I don't know if we will finish this. It's going to depend on the episodes. It's going to depend on the quality of things, because I could very much see myself dropping this if it just gets too much of the same and too much time without any important shit going on. It'll just feel like too much of the same with the first season. It'll just feel like a retread, and I don't want that. Now that we've gotten this important information, I want us to focus on that. I want that to be a lot more ongoing. Because if it's not, it's going to be not only just a huge wasted opportunity, but it's going to be, I feel, detrimental to the show. Because the show's quality is at its best when it does focus on this important stuff. When it's just doing the enemy of the week stuff, it's actually kind of bad. Like, overall. Like, again, there are some enemy of the week episodes that are good. But, like, from an overall perspective, it doesn't work. It just doesn't, it does not work. The entire enemy of the week kind of show in general is just outdated at this point. It takes a very, very good and special show at this time to really make that even kind of work. A show would have to be really damn good to make that happen at this point and actually make it quality. Miraculous, again, was just very split. It was very mixed. There were some that were really good and some that were really bad. And it's just like, that's not a good thing, though. You don't want it to be split like that. You don't want it to be mixed in terms of quality. You want the quality to veer into the good. If it's mixed, half of the time you're not going to be enjoying yourself watching. So it's like you gotta, having a balance here is actually not good. But I'm hoping for the best with this season. We'll see. We will see. But I did just want to rip the Band-Aid off and let you know that anything could happen, and if I do end up dropping this at some point, it will be because of reasons like that. Hopefully it doesn't get to that, but we'll have to see. Now, I don't know how many episodes the season is. It's probably 20-something. I think season 1 was as well. So, even if we do continue and keep going, we're probably going to take a break at some point. Probably halfway through, somewhere around there. Just to keep from burnout and everything, like we did with Fire Force before this, which we will be getting back to after this, basically, no matter what, unless we dropped this like right away, pretty much, which is very unlikely. I feel we would be getting back to Fire Force probably right after this, even if we do drop it. If we end up dropping this like within the first few weeks of getting back to this series, then we'll probably just replace it with something else, because that wouldn't have been enough time. That wouldn't have been worth it. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm going to give this a fair chance. I'm going to hope and just believe that it's going to be good. At least better handled than season 1 was. So, we'll see. But in the meantime, let's just get into this first episode and see what we got in store for us. So, when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, the definition of circumstantial evidence is evidence that is based on inference rather than, well, direct evidence. It's basically just assuming something based on a connection that can be made between one thing and another, rather than actually having observable proof. And that's the entire thing with Gabriel Agreste here being quote-unquote cleared of being Hawkmoth. The The entire idea of him being cleared by being akumatized and everything is circumstantial at best. It doesn't actually prove anything. Him being akumatized does not prove anything. It's known by our characters that Hawkmoth can akumatize people. Why couldn't he not akumatize himself? Yeah, that in and of itself is inference, of course, but that's just as much of a valid inference as assuming that it can't be him because he was akumatized. In fact, it's more so. There's more to actually believe with that. I know these are like young teenagers and all, but even so, it's like I feel like that's just a little bit silly to think that he could be cleared. And this mentor, this old guy, the Guardian, to think that he, with all his wisdom and knowledge, would just kind of wave it off at that point too. It's just like, no. So that was very much annoying with this. The entire fact is, this episode was very much like returning us to the status quo after having gotten the book and everything. All this information, it had to be returned. They were thrown off of Hawkmoth's trail, and everything is just kind of returned to the status quo, and I don't like that, because that definitely pushes it in a direction to where it's just going to go back to the same old, where it's just going to be a lot of the repetitive enemy of the week stuff again. By returning to the status quo this way, it's basically an excuse to not have to focus on the story. And that comes across as kind of lazy. Like, it just gives it more opportunity to ignore the story for longer and just force these random enemy of the week plots each episode for the hell of it. I don't know what their reasoning could be behind that, like whether they're just trying to get more seasons and trying to drag it out, but it's not a good idea. It just gets annoying after a while. So I hope that this doesn't end up being the case, and I hope that they do end up continuing to focus on the story. But this is not a good sign. That being said, there's really not much else to talk about with this episode. Like, the Guardian, he got pictures of the book, so they still have the information. Nothing really changed with Adrian. Like, he's allowed to go to school again and everything. That's not really any different by the end of this. In the end, it's like this just kind of restored things to how they were. It took all of this great story development and everything and just kind of played an Uno reverse card. Saying, like, no, let's just return everything back to how it was. It's just, I don't like that. And I don't know if that's just me, but it's like, again, the weakest parts of season 1 were the just random enemy of the week moments and episodes. The best parts were the stuff that actually focused on the actual story. So by doing this and seemingly pushing away from the actual story to instead focus again on enemy of the week stuff, it doesn't work. And it just feels like they're trying to extend this as long as possible. And I think the series has like 4 seasons currently or something. Which is like, a series like this doesn't need that many seasons. It really doesn't. So that concerns me as well. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I'm not going to just automatically assume yet how it's going to go from here. But it's not looking great. And yeah, again, there isn't really too much else to talk about. We saw Hawkmoth's Kwame, but I don't know if we ever saw them before. I know we've seen the Guardians Kwame before. And we learned a little bit more information than we knew, but not really too much. So it's just, I don't know, it just feels like this episode didn't accomplish anything. In fact, kind of the opposite. So, like I said, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. In the meantime, tell me in the comments below what you thought of Season 2, Episode 1 of Miraculous. And for now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.